So there are really three ways to value a small, medium enterprise. That's what this SME stands for here. Okay. The first way and really superior way is intrinsic value. Okay. We're going to talk a lot about that over this little course here. But the number one thing that it does is it helps us understand cash flow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cash flow is how we pay bills, how we pay debt, how we pay back investors. Okay. The second way is a comp database. Okay, this is where basically we get comparables. Okay, and this is okay. All right, and I'll tell you how I use it. There's no cash flow. Okay, so that's a big red flag there. The databases are really weak, and it really depends what type of business you're looking at, and really the location of where you're looking at the business. Okay. The way I use the comp database and realize is if it's in my favor. Okay. So I work on both sides of the fence, per se.
Yeah.
Okay. So I work with private equity firms and acquisition entrepreneurs. Okay. But I also work with sellers that are trying to value their business and are trying to put it for sale. Okay. So what happens is that if I go in and I get the intrinsic value of a business, I then can go look in the comp database. And if I find that there are some businesses that are pretty close to either the buying or selling price, you better believe that I include that in my memorandum. Okay?
Yeah.
Because all this is doing is giving social validation to my intrinsic value number. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm on the sales side and I say, yeah, I think our business is worth $2 million. And actually, when I look at the databases, these companies here sold for around 2 million. So we should be pretty much accurate. You see what I'm saying? But if you use this as your sole base, you're going to find out you're going to get in a world of hurt. Okay. The really the third way, and unfortunately is the most predominant way, is people using a rule of thumb or a reference guide. Okay. Now, I have a business reference guide sitting on my desk. Okay. There's no way I'm going to use it to value the company. Okay. But what I do is if there's a broker or some other representative on the other side that I can suspect using the reference guide, I'll go in and read it just so I know what the way that they're thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that, again, there's nothing on cash flow, which you're going to find out is pretty much the most important thing. The average business that I look at, okay, and this is going to blow your mind a little bit, has between 300 to 2,000 different prices. Okay.
Yeah.
So just because, so you're going to tell me that you got one price from your rule of thumb, it's essentially worthless. Okay. But this is the number one broker method. Okay. This is the number one record that people are always using. They're like, well, I do, 3 times earnings or 4 times EBITDA or whatever. And even on really high level deals, I was recently, I'll just tell you a quick story. I was representing a private equity firm, and they were purchasing a business that was for sale for $11 million. Okay. And that's not exactly pocket change, okay, for a lot of people, okay? And I'm talking to the broker, and I'm always at the broker. I'm like, how did you come up with your number, right? Like, how did you come up with the value? He's like, oh, I just went into the reference guide and I took 75% of sales, when he even used the wrong code, but. $11 million business, you have to know that the number one thing buyers are concerned about is cash flow. And you didn't even take the time to measure that. It's no wonder that why the business is not going to sell.
Correct.
Right. But that's the reason why we need to know that, hey, this is just something that you can use for a quick method, but you shouldn't rely on it to really value a business. Okay.
Right.